Hi, it's Nick. I'm making this video to explain to you through this diagram how I operate a conventional engine and legacy engines at the same time on my main layout. But before I do, I'd just like to mention to you, I made a video a couple of weeks ago running a conventional engine on my outer main line, and it was the FT engine Santa Fe pulling Santa Fe passenger cars. But I also wanted to run on my middle main line and my staging line two legacy engines. So as the conventional engine was running on the outer main line, I turned on my legacy engine in the middle main line, and it worked, but it didn't work the way it should. So then I turned on my other legacy engine, which is on the staging line, and they both just didn't work. They were very sluggish. And of course I realized why. It's because the legacy engines have to have 18 constant volts. But as you know, if I ran a conventional engine with 18 constant volts, the first curve that comes around, it's just going to fly off the track. So I had to come up with an idea. And I would also like to mention, I made another video explaining how I ran a conventional engine with legacy engines through a diagram. But in that particular diagram, I had two toggle switches, single pole with a single throw. And I tried it out, and it worked. The conventional engine worked with the two legacies. It worked fine. So I decided to put it on my YouTube. And this one fellow that watches my YouTube, his name is Bill, he made a comment. It was a nice comment too. He says, Nick, I like the way you made your diagram, and I like the way through your diagram how you explain how to run a convention with legacy engines on your layout. But also in the comment, he mentioned, do you have a safety? And I wasn't sure how to answer that. So I commented back and I said, I'll get back to you, Bill. So after a while, he made another comment and he says, Nick, it's just a suggestion. Instead of using two toggle switches, single pole, single throw, why not use one toggle switch, single pole, double throw? And I thought about it, and I made a little diagram. I just, Bill has a good idea. I'm going to use it. So down in the basement, I have a box, and I have all kinds of switches and relays. So I came up with this particular one right here, which is a toggle switch, single pole, double throw, but it has an off position. And I thought, well, this would be somewhat of a safety as long as I leave it in the off position. So what I'd like to do right now is to explain to you through this diagram how it works. As you can see here, I have a 180 watt transformer with a controller. And I tied a wire from the positive side of the 180 watt transformer, and I ran it down, as you can see, and I ended it there. I ran another wire from the neutral side of the 180 watt controller, and as you can see, I ran it down, and I tied it off here. Excuse me. Now, all of these wires you see are under my train layout. In order to get 18 constant volts on my middle main line and my staging line, I ran a wire from the positive side of the track, and I ran the wire and I tied it into the positive side of the 180 watt transformer. And I did the same with the staging line, as you can see. The neutrals, I also ran a wire from the neutral side of the middle main track, and I tied it into the neutral side of the 180 watt controller. And I did the same with the staging line. As you can see, I tied it in, and it goes back to the 180 watt controller. And this is how I can get 18 constant volts on my middle main line and my staging line, as long as I put the controller arm all the way in the highest position. At this time, I have no current on the outer main line. In order to run a conventional engine on the outer main line and have two legacy engines run at the same time, I had to incorporate another transformer, which is an 80 watt transformer controller with a controller arm, so I can vary the voltage. What I did was I tied a wire from the positive side of the 80 watt controller, and I ran it down to a contact in the toggle switch. I ran another wire from the toggle switch from the another contact, and I ran it all the way back to the positive side of my outer main line. Now, in order to get current from the 80 watt controller, I would have to come to the switch and manually turn it from the off position to the position of the contact that would allow current come from the 80 watt controller, as you can see. The current would come from the 80 watt controller to the contact. Now this right here is closed, the switch, so the current would come through it, come down, and I would have current on my outer main line from the 80 watt controller, and I can control a conventional engine at the same time. I can control a legacy engine on my middle main line and my staging line through the 180 watt controller. Now, after a while, I decide I want to take the conventional engine off and put a legacy engine on. So what I would do is I would come to the toggle switch and manually put the toggle switch into the off position, which I would have no current on the outer main line because it's in the off position. This here is not closed. It's open now. Now I put a legacy engine on the outer main line. Now, as you know, I still have constant 18 volts on the middle main line and the staging line because the way it's wired to the 180 watt controller. In order to get 18 constant volt on the outer main line, I ran a wire from the positive side of the 180 watt, tied it and ran it down to another contact in the toggle switch, as you can see. Now, what I would have to do is come back to the toggle switch and take it off, manually take it off the off position and put it into a closed position that would allow current from the 180 watt to come to this point. Now this is closed. The current will go to the next contact and would feed power to the outer main line. Now I have 18 constant volts on the outer main line, the middle main line, and the staging line, and I can run 3 legacy engines at the same time. Now, after a while, I said, well, all right, now I'm going to, finish running my trains on the layout, and I'm going to shut the power off. But what I have to do first is, with the switch, manually turn it to the off position. So now I have no current going to the outer main line. I shut my switches off, and I finished running the layout. Then a couple of days later, I decided, well, I want to run my layout again. Now, I turned the 180 watt control to the high position, which would feed 18 constant volts. But again, the outer main line will have no power because of the off position. And that's somewhat of a safety. Just in case I forgot that I had the conventional engine on, there will be no current there because of this position. So as I mentioned, it's somewhat of a safety device. And that's how I run a conventional engine with legacy engines on my layout. Again, I'd like to thank Bill for bringing this to my attention about this toggle switch single pole double throw. But I incorporated the off position for somewhat of a safety. And also, in doing this, I only use one toggle switch, so I don't have another toggle switch, and I save 2 wires running underneath the layout, which, as everybody knows, it's good not to have that many wires under the layout. So again, just want to reach out to Bill for bringing this to my attention and giving me some thought about it. At this time, I'd like to thank you for watching the video. I hope this helps someone out there that is thinking of running a conventional engine with legacy engines at the same time on their layout. So I'm going to end this now, and you have a great day. Bye now.